Yo guys, what's up? It's XRAYZ and welcome back to another video. So 2025 is actually shaping up to be one of the wildest years here in gaming history, and the Game of the Year race is already pretty brutal. We've got a showdown of just a ton of really awesome games this year, and currently there is a little bit of a debate between Donkey Kong Bananza and Expedition 33, which is going to be Game of the Year. So we're going to go ahead and discuss this, and we're also going to talk about some other games that were pretty highly critically acclaimed throughout this year. So there's going to be a lot of games that will be nominated, but there can only be one winner. I know that Donkey Kong Bananza and Expedition 33 are different games, totally different games, but only one of them can win the title of Game of the Year. So let me know in the comment section below, what is your personal Game of the Year for 2025? If it's either Donkey Kong Bananza, Expedition 33, or another game that came out this year. So let's talk about Donkey Kong, let's talk about Expedition 33, and we'll talk about some of these other games as well. If you do go on to enjoy the video, drop a like. If you're new, make sure to subscribe and notifications on so we don't miss a single upload. And if you want to support the channel directly, you can do so by checking out my sponsors, Control Freak and Aim Controller. I use them every single time I play. Code OGXRAYZ gets you a discount, link in description below to that, or through my Amazon influencer page if you guys would much rather do it that way. And then if you guys want to talk and interact, at OGXRAYZ over on Twitter, give me a follow over there, at the OGXRAYZ over on TikTok as well, for even more content from me. But with that said, let's go ahead and talk about both of these games. All right, so let's start off with Donkey Kong Bananza first. So Donkey Kong Bananza dropped here July 17th, 2025, and it is a 3D platformer that's got everyone going bananas. All right, pun intended. Developed by the Super Mario Odyssey team, it's the first 3D Donkey game since 1999's Donkey Kong 64. I never played Donkey Kong 64. It feels like it's either you really love that game or you hated it. So take that with whatever you think. As when it comes to critic scores, it's sitting currently at a 90 out of 100 on Metacritic and a 91 out of 100 at OpenCritic with a 100% recommendation. It's tied with Donkey Kong 64 as the highest rated Donkey Kong game ever, and IGN called it a masterpiece with a 10 out of 10, praising its destructible environments and expressive movements. Let's talk about some of the gameplay highlights for Donkey Kong Bananza. Number one, probably the thing that most people are talking about, the destructible environment. So players are able to punch, roll, and smash through levels to create paths and uncover secrets. And you can do literally whatever you want when it comes to getting some of these banana gems. You can go at it the way they intended for you, or you can just smash your way to a lot of these banandiums. I am having a ton of fun just doing that. All right, so the other pretty big feature is the Bananza transformations. We've got a bunch of them. Just to keep this spoiler free as possible, we're just going to talk about the ones that have been revealed. Bananza Kong, Ostrich, and Zebra. So there's a bunch of variety in the way that you're going to be able to explore and also solve puzzles with these transformations. So the other thing it's got is an underground sandbox level with diverse biomes. So the deeper you go down into the core, you get different biomes, whether it be lava, ice, tropical, beachy vibe, one that literally actually looks like a mine. So you get a lot of variety when it comes to the different sandbox levels. Along with that, you've also got a very heartwarming story with Donkey Kong and young Pauline versus the villainous Voidco, who are just trying to steal their bananas, and Pauline's wish of being a singer and also getting back to the surface. Let's talk about its strengths. It's got to be the chaotic freedom of smashing everything. It feels fresh and the polish is pure with Nintendo magic, with fans calling it the best platformer ever with a 9.2 user score on Metacritic, topping Mario Odyssey's 8.7. It does have some weaknesses, obviously. Some critics noted that the camera does have some issues. It does have some frame rate drops to 30 frames per second in some of the crazier hectic moments and some of the boss fights. Speaking of boss fights, it's got pretty easy ones, so that kind of is a little bit of a ding. All right, so now let's go ahead and talk about Clair Obscur Expedition 33, the RPG sensation. So Clair Obscur's Expedition 33 came out of nowhere from Sandfall Interactive, which is a really small studio, and it's taken 2025 by storm. It launched in April. This turn-based RPG with real-time mechanics is a Game Pass darling. As for its critic score, it's the highest rated original game of 2025 at 93 out of Metacritic, outscoring Bananza by a hair, so it is slightly higher rated than Bananza, and critics love its emotional story and innovative combat, with IGN giving it a 9 out of 10. So Expedition 33 got a 9 out of 10 from IGN. Donkey Kong Bananza got a 10 out of 10. They're kind of debating on which is the highest rated game. Same thing, let's talk about its gameplay highlights. It's got a unique blend of turn-based and real-time combat, which has dodges and parries for immersive battles. It's got a heart-wrenching narrative about the paintress who erases people by age each year and Expedition 33's mission to stop her. It's got a stellar voice cast with Charlie Cox, Ben Starr, Jennifer English, and a really standout soundtrack. The music is phenomenal in Expedition 33. Let's talk about the strengths. Well, the story hits hard and the combat feels fresh yet familiar, with fans praising it for its depth and polish, with many calling it the Game of the Year lock. I saw a lot of people saying that the Final Fantasy team should look at Expedition 33 as what the future of RPGs should be. Well, it does have some weaknesses as well. Some find its pacing slow and its niche RPG style to not really click for other fans. It's very niche, and that makes it a little bit less accessible than Bananza, which is kind of pick up and play and just kind of vibe with it. So let's talk about the head-to-head comparison. This is going to be kind of tough because they do have a bit of a genre clash. This is a classic apple to oranges battle. Bananza is family friendly. It's a chaotic platformer that thrives on freedom and fun. Meanwhile, Expedition 33 is a story-driven RPG with deep mechanics and emotional weight. Your preference might come down to whether you want to smash stuff or you want to cry over a narrative. When it comes to innovation, Bananza reinvents platforming with destructible environments, while Expedition 33 shakes up RPGs with real-time combat. Both push their genres forward, but Bananza feels more revolutionary when it comes to sheer chaos. When it comes to accessibility, Bananza is easier to jump in, especially for younger and casual players. Expedition 33 demands more time and focus, which might alienate some people, especially if you're on the younger side. When it comes to critic reception, Expedition 33 edges out Bananza. It got a 93 versus Bananza's 90 to 91. But Bananza has a stronger fan score and a broader appeal. Some Expedition 33 fans are salty about Bananza's hype, but both are very beloved games this year. When it comes to Game of the Year chances, the Game Awards often favor cinematic RPGs like Elden Ring or Baldur's Gate 3, giving Expedition 33 an edge. But Astro Bot did win in 2024, and it was a platformer like Bananza, so that was kind of crazy when that won. All right, so now let's talk about the other 2025 heavy hitters. So what other games got really highly reviewed? Well, 2025 is stacked with bangers, and here's some of those other games with top critic scores so far based on Metacritic. First, Blueprints at 92, which is a unique roguelike with innovative puzzle mechanics. It was a sleeper hit. Split Fiction, 91 out of 100, a creative title that was blending narrative and gameplay, and it also is hot on the Game of the Year radar. Death Stranding 2 On the Beach got an 89 out of 100 so far, and it's Kojima's latest cinematic adventure, which is praised for the ambition, but slightly divisive as well. I feel like for Death Stranding, you've got to really like the gameplay loop to really get into it, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it was very highly acclaimed this year. So for context, these games are all in the Game of the Year conversation, with Blueprints and Split Fiction nipping at Expedition 33's heels, while Death Stranding 2 is a fan favorite but lags slightly behind in score. Bananza's 90 ties it with Death Stranding 2, but its platform charm could give it an edge when it comes with voters. So which game is going to win Game of the Year? Well, when it comes to my own personal take, I'll tell you right now which game, just bottom line, I enjoyed more. I've got to say so far it is Donkey Kong Bananza, but if I had to be realistic and say which one I think is actually going to win, I'm probably going to pick Expedition 33 because it's just that good of a polished game. Even if you don't like RPGs, I feel like you need to give Expedition 33 a shot. It just is a fun game that you want to keep playing, but like I said, I think I'm enjoying Bananza more, but I think that Expedition 33 might be a better game. And that's just the way that it is. So when it comes to the community input, fans are also split. Some of them are saying that Bananza is the most fun that they've had all year, while others are saying that Expedition 33's story is unmatched. Not to mention that it was made by a much smaller studio, so there's also that. When it comes to my prediction, I think it's too close to call, but I'd bet on Expedition 33, like I said, because of its universal praise. It just really didn't have any weaknesses, and it does have a little bit of an RPG bias, so we can't really sleep on Bananza. But if I had to pick right now which one I think is going to win, it's probably going to be Expedition 33, and that's just my personal opinion. All right, so let's wrap it up. 2025 is delivering some all-time greats, and Donkey Kong Bananza versus Expedition 33 is a Game of the Year battle for the ages. Whether you're smashing through levels or crying over a paintbrush wielding god, both games are must plays. So drop your game of the year picks in the comments. Is it Bananza? Is it Expedition 33? Or is it another one of those contenders? Drop it in the comments section below. Make sure to smash that like button if you're hyped for the Game Awards, and subscribe for even more gaming news and content. Make sure to check out my future videos here on the channel. And if you want to see even more content from me, then check me out over on Twitter at OGXRAYZ and on TikTok at the OGXRAYZ for even more short form content. If you want to support the channel directly, you can do so by checking out my sponsors, Control Freak and Aim Controller. I use them every single time that I play. Code OGXRAYZ gets you a discount, link in the description below to that, or through my Amazon influencer page if you guys would much rather do it that way. With that said, you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys in the next upload. Take care, I'm out, peace.